pick this up here so that you can see what I'm working on. Go. Good morning. We are going to start sewing our Possibilities Quilt month 7. I did cut this last night, and we're going to start sewing. So what you need for this sew along, I'll turn my camera here just a bit. Let me just get it organized here. Is you're going to need your white. So we cut our white, and then everything gets cut into a triangle. So we cut our white pieces, then we cut some dark blue pieces in 2 different sizes, again, all triangles. Then we cut an orange, dark orange, medium red, dark yellow, and dark pink. At least that's the colors that they say. I think my colors match up pretty good. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't really matter that much. Just as long as you have the colors, because what part of the block that we're making, or part of the quilt that we're making, is this part here. We're making this outer part right here. So it doesn't matter what colors you put there, as long as all of this background part is consistent, because that's the only part. There's that dark blue. So I couldn't find whatever I was originally going to use, so I picked this textured one, which I think will add a nice touch to the quilt. So that's what we're doing. Hi from Australia. What block are you making? We are making, this is the Possibilities quilt. It's designed as a block of the month. We've been sewing this since January, and we are doing month 7. And we're going to make the blocks that make up this outer section, this star. The star legs is what we're making. So that's what we're working on right now. This is by Charisma Horton, and you can buy the pattern. I think it's like $30 Canadian or something like that. So not terribly expensive. Let me just adjust my screen. Oh, that's beautiful. Love the colors. I think it's great. And you can use whatever colors you want. I think you need that consistent background colors. I think that's it. That's the only thing. So I don't have all my blocks in here to show you. Actually, I have one from month 5, I think. Month 6, I think I put them away. For some reason, this one's still here. So here's a block that we had to make. So this is my background for most of my colors. Is this blue here. It's called Smurf, and it's a Kona solid. I think it turned out really nice. So lots of options, of course, to sew and to create. So let's get started on this Possibilities quilt. All right. So the first thing you're going to do is, the first step is to cut everything diagonally, which we've already done. Sorry, what is it called again? And who? Hang on a sec. Get ready to take a screenshot. I'm going to hold up, if you're, well, it's also on our YouTube channel. So there is the picture. Possibilities by Charisma Horton. Okay, and it is on our YouTube channel as well. So I'm live in both places. I don't edit my videos, so what you see is what you get. I don't edit them. I leave them. I think I don't have time. I don't take the time to edit. I'm not an editor. I am just a creator, and I focus on creating beautiful things. I'm just trying to move some of my stuff out of the way, just so you have your view is not obstructed by all of my junk. And you know what? All of my junk does not need to be in the way. All right, so let's get started. So it says to cut everything diagonally, which we have already done. So that step is eliminated. I did that right away after I cut my squares. Sew the dark blue. So take your smaller dark blue triangle to each of the colors. So you're going to take all of your colors. There will be a mirrored image pair of each color. So you're going to take you're going to have, you need 2 sets. So you're going to have, get that right out of the way. Okay, you're going to have 4 this way and 4 this way, and you're going to have them going like this. So you're going to have and going like this. Can you see that? You can kind of see it. So you're going to have 2 going this way and or 4 going this way with them on this side and then this side. So we're going to start sewing those. That's what it looks like. A mirrored image pair in each color. Okay. So you're going to sew this down. There's 4 colors. I don't think this will take us very long. I think I can sew all 4 of them in one shot. Sometimes I stop and I just create one block, but I think I can do all 4 of them here without too much issue. I did cut these a little larger. I don't like cutting weird sizes like 7/8 and 3/5 or something like that, or 5/8. I usually just go to the next size, and I can always trim down. Make sure I'm doing that right. Yeah, it looks right so far. Right? Looks right so far. So again, this is Possibilities by Charisma Horton. It is already, she has it set up as a block of the month. So I just continued that. I thought, turn on my other light here. I thought that would be really a fun thing to create and to make and to sew. So that's what I'm doing. Now we're going to sew the opposite way. So we're going to have our triangle going this way with these ones attaching from this side. I think I want that. Solids don't really have a right or wrong side, but sometimes one side I feel just looks better than the other side. So pick that up, and we're going to sew down. And again, sew that to that. So sew this to this, like so, and stitch down. Really sure how it's going to look. It's going to look, well, it's going to look like that. At least one side is. I'm chain piecing here, so sewing everything together. I'm not cutting them apart. I don't want all these. One thing that prevents is these long threads that you have to cut off your quilt, cut off your blocks as you go along. I don't have to do that. I don't usually get very long threads. And as a long armor, I appreciate not having those really long threads. I realize on YouTube, it's hard to see. It's really bright there, and there's not much I can do because it's natural light. But I'm just sewing. So again, taking this piece, sewing my colored piece right along here. So from here to here, sewing that. Straight line, 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. And I did change my thread. I'm still using my regular off-white thread, cream colored thread that I use. Still sewing that. This is my bonus blocks here. Some of these, I should take these out because they are done. What do you have? This only has 4. Oh, that needs a row in it. Okay, so I'm going to press this. So let me press that flat so I can sew this onto here. All right. So I'm making a little, my bonus blocks right now are just little 1.5 inch squares sewn together to make little blocks. So I'm making little blocks like this, and then I'll sew them together and either make a table topper or placemats or quilt or something. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm just making. I'm not exactly sure what my plan is. So let's cut our chain apart now. All of these, we have two going one way and two going the other way. We're going to press everything to the blue. So let's take those over here. I should press this as well. This only has 4. It's one more row on it. So let's set our seam and roll it back towards that blue. We're going to get like a peak. This is what we're going to get. Okay. We're going to get that in the 4 colors that we've chosen. Again, you don't have to choose the colors she chose. You can choose whatever colors you want. Your quilt, you could use, I'm using a lot of solids. This blue, though, has some texture to it, but you don't have to use solids. You can use prints, you can use whatever. So I have 4 going this way. There's a comment on TikTok. Can I ask, where did you buy or did you make them? They're on your left. On my left. Mini design boards. Oh no, I bought them. These are Lori Holt design boards. And they come in 4 or 5 different sizes. I have quite a few of them. Someone actually gifted me a bunch. I have made them. I have made a few of them. This one, I made this one. So it's just that that white board, foam board with fabric, and I glued it down, and I put batting in it. So I have made them. I don't really like making them. I guess the more I would make them, the better I'd get at it. But someone gave me a bunch, and then I just buy them. I like them. I like them a lot. They're very helpful. And she has so there's the 7, the 10. Someone gave me some that they made. This one was made. This is 14, and then there's an 18. But if you're making them yourself, you can make whatever size you like. The square really works well. I had purchased some other design boards, and they're rectangles, and they're not as good because they're too short one way, in my opinion. They're not as good as a square. And you can buy those anywhere they sell Lori Holt fabric. She always has the 4 or 5 sizes in her new collection. So whenever she comes out with a new collection, she has new boards. The fabric around the boards is new. The boards are the same, but they work so good. And I wouldn't mind having like hundreds of them, because then when I cut my smaller blocks, I put them on the design boards. I just stack them up, and then I can just make them. I don't have to cut for a really long time. I got them from Fat Quarter Shop in the States before COVID, like before all of this. I did buy some from there, so I'll throw one in if I, so I can get free shipping or reduce shipping, or I'll throw one of those in. That's like a go-to. I try not to buy much from there anymore because the tariffs coming across is kind of expensive. So I got to find a shop in Canada that sells them. And you get them off Etsy as well. But sometimes it's a Canadian price, but it's not shipping from Canada. So I have to be mindful of that. So I haven't bought any in a while, but I was gifted a bunch by a friend. But I would rather buy one of each size every time. If I could, in a perfect world, I would buy one of every size in every collection so that each board is a different color. I wouldn't have a whole bunch of boards in the same color. Okay. I don't know if Mad About Patchwork sells them. I don't know. I'm gonna have to just do some research. I don't know because I haven't looked in a while for them. So that's why I don't know who sells them. Okay, so now you have some of them going this way and some of them going that way. So 2 4 sets of them, the left way and the right way. I'm just doing that by. So that's what we want. That's what we've done. That's what we've created. It looks like the way it's supposed to look. Yep. It looks totally the way it's supposed to on there. So now what we're going to do is sew the dark blue, the bigger blue. So these bigger triangles, which we have 4 of, 1, 2, 3, 4, you're going to sew them. How does this work now? Okay, I got to really look at the picture. So let's take this one. It goes this way. And you're going to sew this onto this side like that and make one big mountain. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's how that works. Yes. Yes. Okay. So we want it because we want it to look similar to this, to the white. So if we layer white there, that's how it looks. Okay. So we want that half. So we're going to sew this. Now I would cut off this tip here. This little bit here. I'll cut that off just so I don't have that bulk in my block. I'm going to cut those off. And I'm just using my scissors because it doesn't have to be perfect. I just need to cut that little extra bulk off. And I'll do that to these ones as well. Cut them off. Now this is going to be one big star. I didn't realize how big it was until, well, I started making it. Okay. I'll pick up those little pieces and throw them away. At least we won't have them in our quilt. Okay, so we move those back out of the way. And we're going to start with, lay this back down just because I got a little bit turned around, cutting that off. Okay. So now we're going to sew down the straight edge. And we are going to square these up, but I'm not going to square them up until I get everything together. Then I'll square it. And again, I did cut my triangles a little bigger. Because that's what would work for me. I want a little extra room. And I always find that's better than a little small. You could even do, I only went up to from the 7/8 to the whole size. You could go even bigger. You could have went to, the now, whatever. Could have cut it even bigger. This will give me what I need to complete this quilt. So this is exciting, getting it done, getting closer. I think the beginning blocks were foundation paper piece. I had some troubles with them. If you go back on YouTube, you can watch, but I was like, oh my gosh, I messed up a couple of times. Just mixed up the colors. I just changed them, fixed them, redid them, made them better. Okay, so now and again, these are on YouTube. And I do now do the Quilts for Survivors donations. Any donations that we receive are now live on YouTube. So you can go back and watch those. We have some really great volunteers who don't use. Uh-oh. How are these supposed to go? Oh, this way. This way. I was like, oh no, these are the wrong way. No, I just gotta get it organized right. So the way that I'm making sure I'm organizing it right is that my triangle, my blue triangle, is looking the way it's supposed to on the picture. I'm not worrying about this because that confuses me a little bit. And then this is the long piece goes over here. So then pull that into that. So these are looking really good. And because there's no seams to match up, it's just color to color. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to work. It just has to look nice. Okay, now let's sew them up, square it up after we will have a beautiful block that we will like. And if you cut your triangles accurately, you really get it on the diagonal well. When you cut your squares into triangles, if you get it cut diagonally really nice, you'll have really accurate block. Well. Another one here. I'm going to flip that one just so it's the right way when we go to sew it. So enjoying this process for sure. So we will have 8 blocks when we're done. And you don't sew them together. You need them. That becomes part of, I think, the assembly of the quilt. So we'll just leave the 8 blocks as they are, and then we will add that. So this dark blue is the background, and the white is the star rays. Oops. Throwing things on the floor. Not that that doesn't happen other times, but right, I'm gonna sew this together. Because it needed another one. It needed another row. So I'm gonna sew that. There we go. And again, those are just bonuses. I don't have any HSTs to sew together. I don't think I do. No. And this one doesn't make any extra bonus little pieces. So that's great. Oh, someone is on here. Good morning, popping in for a short time, or I have an appointment soon. Okay. I'm working on the Possibilities quilt by Charisma Horton. I do this once a month in case you haven't seen it before. I sew the block, usually around the beginning of the month, as best as I can, so that you can sew along if you want. It's not really a teaching video per se. It's more of a, this is what I'm sewing, this is how I'm sewing it together, following the instructions and maybe tweaking it a bit for how I create. That's about all you're going to get out of this, because I can't give you the sizes. It's not my pattern. If you want to do a class with me, you can sign up soon for our Quilts for Survivors class quilt starting in September. They're on Sundays. It's the 3rd Sunday of the month. And we come together and create a Quilts for Survivors pattern. Right, so we are just sewing this together. So just setting my seam, rolling it back, pressing everything to the blue. Everything to the dark fabric. Excuse me, Wallace. Are you done cleaning? Even under your bed? Uh-huh. Okay, so these ones are this way. No. Yes. No. That one is not the same. These ones are that way. These ones are this way. Oh, this has got a little bit of a weird crease to it. So I'm going to repress them. That got a little funky. Heat always helps. Maybe you can take all her garbage out for her. I think she still needs to get under her bed. She was working in the closet for a long time. They're cleaning their rooms today. They're not dirty. They're just like, take the garbage out, put your clothes in the laundry, those type of things. Joe likes to keep things in bags. Joe, do you really need everything in bags? No, get these things in bags. Like, come on. Okay, so now we have 4 going this way with our color piece here. Then we have, remember, this blue is our background. Then we have 4 with our color piece here. I'm not going to worry about trimming off those notches right there, those little nubs. See, you can see the little nubs there. I'm not worried about cutting those off. We're going to leave them because we're not sewing up here anymore. We're now sewing at the bottom. So what we're going to do is we cut these white. It's white in the pattern, and I have a bolt of white, so I used white. We're going to sew white. We're just going to sew these 2 together. And I'm choosing to sew on the side with the seams so that I can keep my seams nice and flat as I sew across them. I don't want them to fold over or, fold over and be messy. I want them to stay where they are. So I'm going to sew this way. So we're going to sew that together. Now, sometimes when you start with a pointed edge like here, it can get stuck in your feed dogs. That's why I changed this. And I don't start right at the corner, right at that. I line up my straight edge with my 1/4 inch, and then I sew. So I don't want to sew right to the edge. I don't want to start where I don't want to make it harder for myself. So I don't start where I think it's going to get stuck. Okay? So we're going to line it up the best we can, and then we'll just trim it. And these are to be 12.5-inch long. I'm finished. So before they go into the quilt, we want them to be 12.5. So we are getting this sewn down really nice. And we're going to sew this one. So we have 8 to sew together, and then we're done. That's all we have to do for the month of July, for the 7th month, is make 8 of these blocks, and we'll trim them up. I'm going to stop for a second. I'm going to plug in my larger iron. Just so I can get a nicer press. Right. Great. When I'm done sewing all of these, then I'm going to jump on and sew my Dreamcatcher quilt. Well, it's called Dreamcatcher. It is not an indigenous Dreamcatcher, although I found a pattern for something like that, but it's applique. But I think I'm going to make it. Oops. I think it's going to be fun. I tried to, my printer was giving me a hard time today. I didn't get everything I wanted printed out, but I will. I will get things printed out. It'll be great. Sure, why? I think I sent too many things to the printer, and now I don't know how to erase the printer's memory. So I have to look that up. How do you erase the printer's memory? So there we go. Absolutely wonderful. Actually, I like that there's no seams to match up. It makes it a little easier. Don't have to worry about that. Just have to watch that everything is lining up nice. We're getting a nice piece. So this is going really well. There's threads on that. Just shake them off. Okay, we're gonna keep going here. There we go. We got 2 more to do. And we're done. Then we're going to press. And then we're going to a trim. I need my larger iron. Press them just so I can get a nice. And I'm going to press towards the dark. Well, that's what I'm going to try to do. We'll see how well. I don't really want the shadow. One more, people. One more. Should have done that the first time. Right. I think these are gonna look really cool. And then again, we don't sew them together. Although they go together, I'm guessing maybe there's a reason. Maybe I don't know how close assemble. Maybe it's by rows, and so that's why they're not together. I'm not sure. We will just worry about that when you get to it. Right? We don't have to know any more than what we need for this. So this actually was really quick, and I got it done fairly early. I try to get to teach this block at the beginning of the month, the first week. So in the first 7 days, I really try to teach how to do this. It doesn't always work, but I try. So I'm going to cut off my leader here. Press it down, nice solid, nice block. A mixture of whatever fabrics I've been working on. That's what it is. Scraps, 1.5 inch. And then this one is 3 pieces together so far. It needs another piece. So I'm gonna sew this to this end. I don't care if there's the same fabrics within the block. I just don't want. I have a ladybug here and a ladybug there, with the same background. So it's a mixture of all these fabrics that I have that I've been using to make my quilts. So that's what those are. And I call them my bonus blocks. I sew them as leaders and enders. Very nice big blocks. The quilt should finish quickly. Yeah, these ones are pretty big. Actually, I think almost all the blocks are 12 inches, 12.5. It's a big quilt though. It's 96, I think, by 96. It's a square quilt. We'll be done in December. Maybe there's a possibility that I could have it sewn together, have it quilted in December. There's a possibility. If I don't have too many quilts that are ending in December, maybe I can make the time to do that. So let's go over to the iron. I'm going to move you guys so you can see. And I'll move you guys so you can see the ironing station is back there. Let's make sure it stays where I want it to stay. All right, so we're going to go over to the pressing station here. Move the chair out of the way. Oh, it's a hot one again, but we're going to be okay. Can everyone see? Yeah, I think I can see pretty good. This one I can turn a little bit. After we'll do the borders on that Coriotor quilt. because I found my tray of fabrics for that, and I have fabric ready to cut for the borders. Then we'll sew this sucker together. Or we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Okay. Making sure that everything stays flat. And then press to the dark. Ooh, that looks pretty good. We have to trim them. I'm gonna set something. What? Well, I love you too. She asked you to. She can't tell you to do anything. I'm just gonna hang this up on the door. This is 3/4 of the quilt, minus borders. Okay. So it's setting the seam, rolling it back, getting it nice and flat. That's the goal. And my iron is nice and hot. So there's 8 blocks all together, 2 of each color. And they go in 2 different directions. I will come and cut my blocks over, trim them up over closer to the camera so you can see better. There we go. So there's those. This one will be wrapped up. Yeah. What hole on? Yeah. Not that? Yeah. I think you meant to say fold out. Baby! Oh. I don't find. Yeah. Let's say you sleep on this one. What's that? I don't do it. Okay. Watch that one. Set your seam. Roll it back. Get it nice and flat. That's the key to making any block successful. You really need it to be nice and flat. And I have yet to find a white that doesn't show anything. Like I like a white that is a nice, really nice white, but it's not so see-through. I find the whites are always so thin. I don't like that. So some of my points are a little nicer than other blocks, but I think overall it looks really good. This is actually a 12.5 inch ruler, so we're going to use that. So I'm going to we're going to line everything up. Oh, there's a comment. How was the retreat last weekend? Oh, we didn't have a retreat. We had to cancel. We didn't have enough people signed up, so we had to cancel it, unfortunately. It wasn't worth it, unfortunately, but we still are selling tickets for September retreat. So come out to that. That's the Orange You Glad we're sewing. It's a fun and exciting time. And everyone is welcome. All skill levels are welcome. We do expect that you know how to sew. Like it's not a learn to sew retreat. We do expect that you know how to sew and cut fabric at least a little bit. Because some people thought, oh, you teach us. Well, no, not exactly. We expect you to know we can help, but it's not teaching per se. You should have some basics. Your room is lovely with your quilty artwork surrounding you. Yes, it's lots of fun. It's smaller. I used to be in a bigger room, but this works for me for where I am now, and it works. So I'm going to trim these now. I'm using a 12.5 inch square ruler. I am just trimming down all 4 sides. I'm doing the best that I can with how I sewed my block. So there is one of the 8 blocks. They're funky, but remember, this is the star leg. This is background with a little bit of touch of color. And it goes in the bottom left corner of the quilt is what it looks like. So it'll be lots of fun. So there's one done. Guys, stop being so loud and get your work done. So I'm using my 45. And I'm sliding it up and down the block so that I'm not cutting. This one worked a little better. I think I might need a new blade if this keeps being annoying. I'm going to rotate it. For the simple fact, that's not trimming there. So now this is 12 and a half over there. The back. My rotating mat is not big enough for this particular size of block. Yeah, I think I need a new blade. I like it when there's no question about if my blade is cutting or not. I like it to be smooth, a smooth cut. Yes, okay. So we're gonna change it, put it in my used container. Once that's full, then I'll, usually when one's full, the other one's empty. So always make sure that you don't have more than one blade. I have put 2 blades on there. Very easy to do. And then wondering, this is cutting worse than it was before I changed the blade. Simple fact was I had 2 blades on it. All right, so now I shouldn't have any issues cutting, trimming it up. So you should do this with every block you make. That up there. Every single block that you create, you should square it up. Every time. Now, in patterns, they'll have 3 or 4 times where you can square it up or check the size. I've learned for how I sew when I want to trim it up. And it's usually, there's different stages where I'll trim it up, but I do watch. I don't just trim it up every time they say, because then my block sometimes has become too small. There we go. That's fine. I just didn't have to trim one side. So see there, nothing's stuck. Everything cut nice, which works. So we're going to keep going until we're done all 8, because if I don't do it now, I won't get it done. It's just kind of how it works. So we're going to come live on Wednesday at the studio. We are going to do our block of the month for the studio. You can catch us live there. And if I remember, I will hook up to YouTube as well. And we'll do month 7 of the Corey Yoder mystery block of the month from last year. I did get permission from her to share that with you. It is a free pattern. And I was really grateful that it's all out there. You don't even have to do it with me, but it works great to be able to do that. So now we're going to stitch here, cut here, cut down here, and cut over here. Now, the safer way would be to rotate my quilt block and cut it that way. And if I feel that I'm not cutting safely, I will do that. With these larger rulers, it can be a bit tricky to get them to stay where you want them. So that's where a weight could come in handy. Line up the way you want to cut it, and then set it in the center. And then that'll help you hold your ruler down so you can trim. So then this way, and then down this side. I'm watching to make sure that my body parts are out of the way. There we go. So definitely the sharper blade is helping. Definitely needed to replace my blade. I do cut a lot of fabric. All right. This one seems wonky. I'm going to fix that. It's a little bit on the wonky side. It's just going its own way. A little bit of heat and it'll go the way I want it to go. There we go. Flat. The key for me is flat. If the block isn't flat, I'm going to make it flat. And I don't usually pressure my seams open. There we go. Okay, so we're going to go this way. See what's playing at the movies. When we go to the movies, it's so hot. These are cool, at least. Bring some gift cards for them still. So maybe we'll go do that. I'll have to see what's playing. All right. Well, maybe, oh, yeah, maybe that little center there. It might have been easier to press it to the white, but I didn't want it to show. That's my main concern, is I didn't want it to show. Okay. That was the last one. I'm gonna hang up my ruler and I put it back. If I put them back, then we have less chance of getting wrecked by falling on the floor. Okay. So there we go. Another one done. What?
The bits, like where we put all the stuff I don't want. Do we throw it out?
Yeah. Throw it in the garbage.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So there's my 8 blocks all done. So how they go in the pattern, I'll have to find the other color that is that pink color. Just to show you how it looks. Let me shake this off. They have it going this way. So these will in the quilt, they will go together like this. But I'm not sure how they get that together. So they'll want them to match up. Now that's not perfect, but it'll match up. So they match up and make a little triangle. There's my star legs. Super cute. So that's the possibilities quilt. That is block 7. And we have 12 to make. I think, well, maybe month 12 is putting it together. Let me check. Next month, we're making some cute, I don't know, like little flying geese. No, they're not flying geese, little half square triangles again. Month 9 is a bunch of half square triangles. Oh no, you make the center blocks that go in the center of this. That's what it looks like you do. Or you're making hourglass blocks. Okay. And then month 10, you're making stars. Month 11, you're making some patchwork, little patchwork blocks. Month 12 is assembly. So there's no blocks to be made, and it is made in rows. And that's why we don't sew this row together. These together, because we sew the blocks in rows. So that's how that will work out. So awesome, awesome. Excuse me, did you put it in the garbage or just outside on the deck? In the garbage. Okay, perfect. Miigwech. Okay, so there we go. There is all of our blocks assembled and ready for the quilt. So we don't have much left to do. So month 12, we're not making any blocks. I didn't realize that I wasn't. We're going to assemble the quilt. So that will be December. And that will be super fun. So this is a great little quilt. And I think it's coming together really nicely. So I will store these where I store my other blocks. And actually, some of the blocks would have been 10 and a half. No, I think they were all 12. I don't know. I don't remember anymore. So there you go. all done. So thank you for joining me. I'm going to stay live on TikTok, but I am going to turn off YouTube. Well, I have to come look at it. Well, I think that needs to be charged. I think, is this? That's not the cord for this, is it? No. There's a little black cord to charge that little vacuum cleaner. I got that in one of my So Sampler boxes. People always ask, why do you buy the So Sampler box? It's kind of expensive. Well, because it makes it, I get cute little gifts that I probably wouldn't buy otherwise, right? All right, so those are done. We're done. So thank you for joining us on YouTube. We'll see you next time. I'll come down. We'll see you next time.